Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek Podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek Podcast.
Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Plo in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek Podcast. I'm your host Rory, and joining me is co-host Maureen.
Hello.
And also joining us today is a very special guest. We have actress Maria Olsen, who is best known for playing Miss Dodd / The Fury and Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. So how are you, Maria?
I'm well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast today. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to have you join us. It's a pleasure. So getting right into the questions, my first question for you, Maria, is how did you decide you wanted to be an actress?
Well, this takes me back many years now to when I was growing up in South Africa. And I used to go to movies really, really often. And I saw such amazing actresses like Jodie Foster, Jane Fonda, Kathleen Turner, Sigourney Weaver on screen again and again and again. And when I was younger, I would have come out of one of those films, say Agnes of God with Jane Fonda, saying, I want to be a psychologist because that's what she played. Then watching Kathleen Turner in, those films where she was a writer, I came out, Romancing the Stone. I came out of that film going, I want to be a writer. And it was eventually a couple of years after that, I realized that no, I want to have the experiences that those ladies have and move from film to film and become all those different characters. And I think that's how I figured out I actually wanted to become an actress. And I've, been working on it ever since.
Yeah, very nice. My second question is, how did you first get involved with Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief?
Well, I was on set to shoot a short film that would actually eventually end up in the Cannes Festival. And I got an email from my agent saying, you have an audition on Monday morning. This was Friday night that she contacted me. And I was like, oh, that's cool. What is it? And she said, it's Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. And I was like, that's nice. What is that? Yes, I had not heard of the books. But by the time I got into audition on Monday, I think it was at 11 o'clock in the morning, I had read the first half of the first book in the series. I had read my character scenes in the book, so I had a pretty good idea of exactly what was going on. And I love fantasy. I love young adult fiction, funnily enough. So that sort of story, that sort of scenario was just very, very familiar to me. It wasn't strange at all like it might have been for some other actresses. And I was like, okay, I'm at home here. And you know what? There's really no reason why I shouldn't get this. Yes, I'm a complete unknown with only a little bit of experience up against 60 other women, but what the hell? There's no reason I shouldn't get this. And here we are.
Yeah, definitely. So my third question is, what is your favorite memory from working on Percy Jackson?
That would totally be. I think I'm going to go with two. I think I'm going to go with how wonderful Chris Columbus is on set. He is just so welcoming and so enthusiastic and dedicated and friendly all the time. You can see he's literally making his dreams come true when he shoots a movie. And my second one was the stunts. I had to jump off that scaffolding that's shown in the movie. I actually had to do that. It was in my contract that I had to do all of the stunts myself. So I went up for a training day and they showed me how to use the flying harness and how to jump off a 10-foot, I think it was, scaffolding, how to land correctly, all those sort of things. And then on the day of shooting that scene, they took me into this room where the scaffolding was about twice the height that I was used to, and I was now in wardrobe, which was very different from like the suit that I had trained in. And they just roped me in, and you knew that every time they yelled action, you were going to say your line and then jump off this 25-foot thing in front of you and land on these pads. You just knew you had to do it. There was no choice. There was no, I'm scared. I want to sit down. I want to have a drink. There's no, nothing. They say action, you say your line, and you jump. That's it. And it's just, you find out who you are in situations like that. You really do.
Yeah, I think it's really great that you did the stunts yourself. That's impressive.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was very cool. I had a stunt double. I had two, in fact, and they were lovely ladies to work with, but they never did my stunts. They gave me hints and tips, and one was actually up on the scaffolding with me during some of the takes, just hiding behind some of the things up there, just to give me like on the job tips. But they never did it. I did it.
Very nice. My fourth question, though you kind of answered it already, was were you a fan of Percy Jackson before you got the role?
No, I did not know that the series existed, but I have since read all the books except book 5 in the series, which I will totally be reading. I want a complete softcover series of the books, and the last time I checked, it was only out in hardcover, but I could be wrong. Um, but yes, I will definitely be reading the rest. And my best part of Percy Jackson, George and Martha, the two little snakes. There you have
Yeah, they,
it.
they are really funny.
Yes, they're
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, you just can't help but like them. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're just so, humorous. Yeah. My fifth and final question is, do you have any upcoming acting roles or other projects you like to talk about?
Oh, absolutely. I have, oh, I think it's 5 feature films doing the festival circuit in the UK and in the USA right now. In South Africa as well. There is African Gothic, which is up to play in another festival in South Africa, the Grahamstown International Festival, which I think is in June or July. Which is very close to my heart because Grahamstown is about 2 hours away from a little town called East London, which is where I was born and grew up. Um, African Gothic will also play in another festival in the USA. It is a thriller slash horror, I would say. It's a very different kind of film, but I've seen it. It's absolutely stunning, and if anyone can get the chance, then see it. The sci-fi feature Lost Time that I was in just debuted in London about 2 weeks back. I think it was the London Sci-Fi International Film Festival. That one's amazing, starring Rochelle Valise, Robert Darby, Luke Goss, Derek Mears. I wander around as Derek Mears' sidekick. I cannot wait to see that. It was a wonderful shoot, beautiful shoot, great premise. Lost time refers to the time that is lost when people get abducted by aliens. So it just explores that whole concept. I also have Starry Eyes on the festival circuit in the USA right now. That was unofficially given the title of the best new horror film of 2014 at the South by Southwest Festival just a couple of weeks back. It won a Best Feature Director's Choice Award at the Boston Underground Festival, I do believe it is, and it next appears in the Denver Festival. Another, which is a visually stunning film by Jason Bognacki will premiere at the Seattle International Film Festival in approximately 1 month's time, and I'm really, really hoping to go up and see that. It's already getting rave reviews. People just see the trailer and they're like knocked off their seats. Stars Paulie Rojas of The Witches of Oz, Nancy Wolfe from the original Helter Skelter. She played Susan Atkins, and I'm the third one of the trio in that film. And oh, that's going to be beautiful. Oh my gosh, Trophy Heads. It's the first ever full moon horror um, series. It's going to debut on their full moon streaming site, I believe, on June the 4th. And it's going to be available for streaming around the world. It's going to be a series of 5 30-minute episodes that's later going to be consolidated into one DVD release. And that has got like every single Scream Queen that you can possibly name, like Linnea Quigley, Brink Stevens, Michelle Bauer, Darcy DeMoss, Denise Duff, Jackie Lavelle. I'm quite sure I'm forgetting somebody, but that was an amazing experience to work with Charles Band and the Full Moon family. I adore them, and I hope to be back, and I cannot wait to see that. And it's just like this whirlwind of everything happening right now, that all these films are coming out, and it's a little bit difficult to keep up with everything, actually.
Yeah, it's great that you have so many things coming out there. That's really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for everything you said. So thank you very much, Maria, for answering all of my questions, and I'll let my co-host Maureen ask hers.
First thing I've noticed is that your list of IMDb credits is huge. How do you keep on top of so many projects?
It's getting more and more difficult, believe me. Um, I I try to give as much publicity to each of my projects as I can, but I will obviously give a little bit more time to the ones I'm also co-producing. We just wrapped a feature called Reunion that I co-produced and acted in, and I'm doing publicity for. We wrapped it a week ago yesterday. It's now in post. Our trailer will be out in 2 weeks, and we hope to get it cut out to everyone by December or November of this year. But that is one of my, I believe it's 150 right now, projects on IMDb. And I know there are outstanding credits, and literally I try to keep up. I try to give everything publicity and know where everything is screening when it's on TV, so that I can let my people know. But believe me, it is difficult. It's just too much sometimes.
Wow, and I thought I had a busy schedule. My second question is there any show or project you would kill to be involved in?
American Horror Story. Absolutely. I was lucky enough to play one of the inmates in the asylum in their second season. And I had liked it before, but being on set with the whole team, I just fell in love with the whole thing. And it would be a dream come true to get some sort of role on their fourth season. I believe it's Carnival that's presently in development and casting. That would be like beyond amazing, and I would love that to happen. But things happen as they happen, and they don't as they don't, so we'll see what happens. I also, it's not well known, but I also auditioned for Catching Fire, the third episode in the Hunger Games. I don't believe I booked the role, but just auditioning for it and just being somehow a slight tiny part of that family, that phenomenon, was amazing.
So my final question for you is, what has been the most interesting project to work on?
Interesting. That's actually a really good question, because I've done so many things, as in so many interesting things. Like, I've been shot underwater, for instance. We had an underwater camera. I had to dive into a pool fully clothed and swim as far as I could along the bottom of the pool while they were shooting me. That was really interesting. Another pool situation for a short film by Jason Bognacki, who was the guy behind another. I had to be killed in a pool, strangled in a pool, and that was weird. That was also very interesting. Whenever you involve water, and I've done it quite often, a whole new different set of rules comes into play. Like, I learned real quickly, that I shouldn't go underwater backwards because that did weird things to my head. I mean, who knew? Yeah, you realize this in the middle of a take. It's like, oh, okay, am I going to survive this take? I'm not sure. Yeah, I love my silent roles. I've played 3 silent roles, features Shelter, The Mudman, and the web series Our Zombie Mother. I just love being able to act physically instead of relying on words. It's, as you can hear, my accent comes in and out, especially now that I'm speaking to you guys with your non-American accents. My South African will come in. So whenever I have a speaking role in a film, my mind is first on, am I pronouncing that word correctly before I move on to anything else? And if I just take that whole, can I pronounce this correctly, out of the equation and just work physically, I love it. I'm like a kid in a toy shop, I swear. And I think my love of physicality comes from the fact that I was in theater for like 30 odd years before I moved into film.
I do understand that whole kind of, oh my god, is this how they say it over in America? And
Right.
Hey, it's
So-
even worse. It's even worse for me being half Irish and half English.
Oh.
I'm half English as well, but it's
Yeah, but not to my extent. My accent is like halfway in between both.
Accents are a whole different thing. You know, for another film that I booked, Hattie, I booked the lead role. They want a slight southern drawl. And I'm like, okay, let me figure that one out. Of all the accent types, I'm probably closer to the southern because, no, in South Africa, we don't really pronounce our R's like that either. So that's a little bit easier for me. But it's weird trying to make your way in a place where the accents are so different, and a lot of what you book depends on how you say things. Yeah, and I have this like horrible habit of picking up the accent of whoever I'm speaking to. It's not meant; it just happens because my ears just do that. So yes.
that's all my questions that I have. Thank you very much for answering them all.
So I think that's sort of a question for you, Marie. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Of course, anytime, anything.
Yeah.
Oh, since it's called Anything Geek, I might want to share with you that I still have my collection of silver and gold age DC comics from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Oh no way.
Nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I know a lot of people would want those.
I have just under 2,000 of them, and I'm a DC girl through and through. I mean, I have a couple Marvel, but no, even the most obscure DCs like Captain Carrot, I have them. Yes.
Wow. I'm sure a lot of people are going to try and find your house right